Hello, my name is Lydia and I'm here to help you learn English. Today we're going to talk about capital letters. There are 26 letters in the English alphabet and each of them has two forms. And we call them uppercase letters or capital letters and lowercase letters or small letters. Of course, most of the time we use small letters when we write, but on some special occasions we do need to use capital letters. And today we are going to talk about those occasions and rules of when to capitalize letters in English. So here we go. The first rule is that we need to use capital letters at the beginning of a sentence or a speech. For example, we visit our grandparents every weekend. Here, the letter W in the word we is capitalized because the letter W is the first letter of the first word in the sentence. Or, he said they were going to London. Here we capitalize the letter H in the word he because that's the first word of the sentence, and the letter T in the word they because that's the first word of the speech. They were going to London. Next, we need to capitalize the pronoun I, and it doesn't matter whether it comes at the beginning of a sentence, in the middle of a sentence, or at the end of the sentence, we always need to capitalize it. The next rule is that we need to capitalize the first letters of names of people and their titles. For example, the Browns are moving in next door, or I saw Professor Smith yesterday. Anna is married to John. In these sentences, the Browns, Professor Smith, Anna and John are all the names of people, and as in Professor Smith is also a title, the word professor is a title, that's why we need to capitalize the first letters of those words. Other examples of titles are Mr., Mrs., Ms., Doctor, Professor, Captain, President, Prime Minister, etc. But remember, when we use the words like doctor, professor, captain, president, etc. in the general sense, that is, we don't use them as names of people or as titles, in that case we do not need to capitalize those words. For example, John Wilson is our family doctor. The word doctor is not capitalized here because we don't use it as a title, we use it just as a noun to name a profession. Or, he is going to run for president. Again, president is not a title here, it's just a position or a profession, that's why we don't use it with the capital letter. Also, if we use the words like mom, dad or sister in the general sense to name the people in our family, we do not capitalize those words. But if we use them as titles or even as a name, then we do need to capitalize them. For example, I can say, hey mom, and mom here as if the name of the person I'm talking to. That's why the letter M in the word mom is capitalized. Or for example, I met Sister Mary on my way to church. Here the word sister is not a word to show a family member, it's a title. Sister also means a nun, which is a religious woman who dedicated her life to God and probably lives in a monastery or a church. So here you need to capitalize the word, the first letter of the word sister. But if you say, for example, I only have one sister, here the word sister is used in the general sense, so we do not capitalize it. Or when I say, my mom loves cooking, as in the previous example, here mom is not capitalized because it's not a title, it's not a name, it's just a word that shows a family member. Next rule is that we need to capitalize first letters of the names of days of the week, months of the year, including special occasions like different holidays and festivals. For example, I hate Mondays. My birthday is in December. All children look forward to Christmas. So we capitalize the words like Monday, December, Christmas, etc. Also, we capitalize the first letters of the names of towns, cities, villages, regions, countries, continents, and even planets. For example, London is the capital of England. There are more people in Asia than in Europe. Alaska and Texas are the biggest states in the USA. So here the words like London, England, Asia, Europe are capitalized because we mean some geographical units, geographical division. But, for example, if we say individuality is very important in the West, here the West means the region, Western countries, the Western region of the world. That's why we need to capitalize it. But if we say that he lives in a small village in the west of the country, here the West is not a region, it's just a point or a direction on the map. That's why we don't need to capitalize it. In the same way, if we say the closest planet to Earth is Venus, Earth and Venus are capitalized because they are astronomical names of planets. But, for example, if we say he likes to till the Earth in an old-fashioned way, or there isn't sun in the sky today, here we don't need to capitalize the word Earth because we don't use it as an astronomical word for our planet, but we use it as the upper layer of the ground where people plant trees and flowers, etc. And when we talk about the sun in a general sense, the sun that we see in the sky every day, we don't need to capitalize it because we don't really use it as a name here. And next rule is that we need to capitalize first letters of the names of rivers, seas, oceans, canals, lakes, mountains, etc. For example, Mount Everest is the highest mountain in the world. Here the word Everest is capitalized because it's the name of a mountain. Or the river Amazon flows into the Atlantic Ocean. Here the river Amazon and the Atlantic Ocean are names of a river and a sea. That's why we need to capitalize them. But, for example, if we say the Great Lakes are some examples of the numerous lakes in Canada, the first word lakes is capitalized because it's part of a name of a group of lakes, and the second one is not capitalized because it's not a proper noun, it's not a name, it's just using a common noun lake. We also capitalize the names of places in the city, for example, the names of streets, parks, monuments, buildings, etc. For example, the Empire State Building is located on the west side of Fifth Avenue. Here, both the Empire State Building and Fifth Avenue are capitalized because the Empire State Building is the name of a building and Fifth Avenue is the name of a street. But, for example, if we say Central Park is an urban park in Manhattan, New York City, the first two words, Central Park, are capitalized because this is the name of a park, and the second one is not capitalized because it's just a common noun. In the same way, for example, if I say I found a wallet on the street yesterday, the word street is not capitalized because it's not a proper name. But as in the previous example, Fifth Avenue, the word avenue was still capitalized because it was a part of the name of a particular street. Another rule of when we need to use capital letters is for the names of companies, organizations, institutions, trademarks, etc. For example, more than 100,000 people work for Google, or the BBC is British public service broadcaster, or he always dreamt about going to Oxford University. We are going to visit the National Gallery during our trip to London. Here words like Google, the BBC, Oxford University or the National Gallery are capitalized because they are names of different organizations or trademarks. Next one. We need to use capital letters for the names of languages, nationalities and races of people. For example, the British drink a lot of tea. France is a European country. There are many African Americans in the US. He studied Latin and Greek at university. Here the words like British, European, African American, Greek or Latin are the names of languages, races and nationalities. That's why we need to use capital letters at the beginning of those words. We also need to use capital letters at the beginning of the names of religions and different deities or different gods. For example, the three major monotheistic religions in the world are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. He is a Roman Catholic. Or Allah is the Arabic word for God in Abrahamic religions. Here we capitalize the words like Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Allah, Roman Catholic, because they are connected to religions and the holy people or gods in those religions. But, of course, some religions have multiple gods. In that case, the word God will not be capitalized. But if we mean God as a name, as the only God in a particular religion, then we, of course, capitalize that word. We also capitalize the names of historical periods. For example, in the history of Europe, the Middle Ages lasted from the 5th to the 15th century. Or many children worked in the coal mines during the Industrial Revolution. So the words like the Middle Ages and the Industrial Revolution are the names of different historic periods. That's why we need to capitalize them. We also use capital letters for abbreviations. What are these words? They are, for example, the UK, the United Kingdom, the USA, the United States of America, Washington DC, which means Washington District of Columbia, or ASAP, which means as soon as possible, or the UN, which means the United Nations. If we talk about subjects that we take at school or university, for example, math or psychology or biology, we do not need to capitalize those words. But if we use those same words as the names of particular courses at university, for example, then we do capitalize them. For example, some of the subjects we study at school are French, English, and psychology. Here the words French and English are capitalized because they are the names of languages, but the word psychology is not capitalized because it's just a subject name. But, for example, if I say I'm taking Psychology 101 this year, Psychology 101 here is the name of a particular course at university. That's why we capitalize it here, but in the previous sentence we did not, because it was not a name, it was just a common noun. We also use capital letters in expressions like Gate 11, Flight 205, Route 15, etc. For example, how do I get to Gate 11? Or Flight 205 departs from Terminal A. Also, if we use the words like left and right to mean the directions on a map, we don't capitalize them. So, for example, if we say turn left and you will see the hotel, the word left is not capitalized. But we do need to capitalize the words like left and right when we use them as the names of wings of politics or political parties. For example, the political terms left and right were first used during the French Revolution. And the last rule is about titles. Titles of articles, of books, films, etc. So, when it comes to titles, we need to capitalize the first word of the title and also any noun, verb, adjective or adverb. But we do not need to capitalize any prepositions, articles or conjunctions. For example, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Harry Potter, Prisoner and Azkaban are capitalized, but and, of and there are not capitalized. So today we talked about capital letters. I hope you found something useful in this video. If you liked this video, please subscribe for my channel and hit the thumbs up and the bell so you don't miss on my next videos. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.